Revenge films.
I'm a 33-year-old single man working in a factory. I live with my sickly mom and have looked after her ever since I was young. The reason why I work at this particular factory is that it's close to home so I can get back home quickly. My dad passed away when I was in high school after a long illness. That's why most of our savings are gone. The only money left was spent on his funeral. So I dropped out of high school and started working in the factory to support the family financially. My mom is not ill enough to receive welfare money from the government, but her condition is bad enough that she can't work. That's why she needs my support both financially and around the house. I have a baby brother who is 6 years younger than me. He went to university.
Steve wants to go to university.
One day, my mom told me, "Okay, I'll pay the tuition, so Mom, don't worry about it." So I sent my brother money for his tuition and to support his living for 4 years. Thanks to his education, after graduating, he got a good job. I felt a sense of satisfaction that it was a good thing I did to support him. One day, my brother dropped by at our home for the first time in a long time. "Brother, are you still working in that shabby factory?" "Yeah, what about it?" "Well, you're 33 years old, live with your mom, and working in the factory. Working in a factory means no girl would want to marry you. You're leading the life of a loser, you know. On top of that, Mom still gives you money, right? I heard your wages have not gone up. You've been working in the same factory for more than 10 years, and all you get after tax is $1,700 a month, huh? I'm so embarrassed to have a brother like you. Why don't you get a better job?" But then, no one would hire a 33-year-old who dropped out of high school. "I'm sorry I'm such an embarrassment to you. But you know Mom's condition. I work in the factory because it's so close to home. You have no right to say anything about that, especially when you're the one who does whatever he likes. Plus, I like to work in the factory, so let's leave it there." "You are so lame making Mom an excuse for your low income. And don't lie about enjoying working in a factory. Don't pretend you don't care. Anyone can do what you do. You sound like a proper loser." Whatever. My brother used to be cute. When Dad was in the hospital and with a sickly mother, I was the one who looked after my younger brother. I went to his school on Parents' Night wearing my school uniform. He even loved me like I was his parent. Since he became a university student, he started to look down on me. "I can't believe you only finished junior high. No matter what you do, please don't drag me down to your level." He was saying stuff like this. Even after he got a job, he was still playing around, leaving me to take care of my mom. He did seem to get good money, but he played hard with girls so much, so I guess he had no savings. I knew what he was like, but I didn't argue with him and just ignored what he was saying. With him being like that, even if I said something to him, he wouldn't listen. But I didn't take it too seriously, thinking he will settle down when he gets a little older. But one day, my brother came to my factory out of the blue saying, "Hello everyone! It is nice to finally see you guys after hearing so much about you. Why are you here?" "I just happen to be around this area, on my way to one of my clients' places. I saw the factory you work in, so I came by to say hello. Just checking what kind of place you work in. It smells funny. I can't believe anyone would work at a place like this. They're all losers like you, brother." We were talking in the break room, but my coworkers were looking at my brother as if they were gonna punch him. "Hey, bad-mouthing me is one thing, but don't do that to my coworkers. You have nothing good to say, just leave." "Don't get too excited. I'm leaving anyways. I can't stand the aura of this place. I'm off now. See ya, bro." What the heck was that? He upset my coworkers. Normally, I just let go of my brother's rudeness, but I couldn't let this go, as he insulted my friends. So I promised myself if something like this happened again, I will punish him. About a month later, my brother came to my home flustered. "Mom, I need to talk to you."
What's the matter? You look upset.
"Can you help me? Can I borrow $200,000, please?"
$200,000?
In the middle of this conversation, I finished work and came home. "What's going on? I can hear you outside the room. What do you mean you want to borrow $200,000 from Mom?" "Well, I stole money from my company, so I want to return the money before they find out." "Why did you do that? I thought you'd get good money." "You might not understand having a loser job, but I need all the money I can get to make contacts and invest in myself. I need to look nice as I'm in sales. The suit, shoes, and watch, what I'm wearing right now cost me $30,000. $30,000? They cost that much. Why don't you sell them first and get money?" "I can't do that. I can't work without them. You understand, right?" You don't give anything to anyone, but you think you can get something from Mom? What a nerve. Well, I was appalled by my brother. He said, "It's none of your business! I'm speaking to Mom!"
Steve, I'm sorry. I don't have that kind of money.
You're lying! You don't have a job all this time just staying home. You must have money to live on. Didn't you get a lot of inheritance from Dad? Mom just shook her head. Then why can you afford to stay home like this? Mom glanced at me. Huh? Are you saying that my brother is paying for all this? But he's on low wages, right? What the heck about my low wages? I'm the one who's been supporting Mom. It can't be! You can't afford to do that with your wages. The house loan and the car loan. How can you afford all that? You're right. With my wages, I can't pay back the loans while looking after our sickly mom. I haven't told you this, but I paid off all the loans a long time ago. How? With your wages, how did you manage that? After dropping out of high school, I bought some stocks and I've been earning money from them. I have about $1 million in my bank account. So I showed him my bank book. He kept looking at the book with his mouth open.
It was your brother who paid for your university and sent you money,
said my mom. Brother, I'm so sorry I looked down on you in the past. I apologize. So can you lend me $200,000? I'm begging you. I won't badmouth you again. And I'll help you look after Mom. I'm sorry, I can't lend you the money. I will spend this money on Mom and my family. Your family?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Who are you? I got married to a girl from my work last month, actually. The reason I didn't tell my brother about it was because of the way he is. Why would I introduce my new bride to someone who looks down on people who work with me? In the end, his company found out that he stole money. He was spared of a prison sentence, but he has to pay back the money he stole. He was fired from his work, of course, but with his criminal record, he is struggling to find another job. He looked down on people working in the factory so much, but he even came to my work looking for an interview. He didn't get the job, naturally. Guess what he did when he came to my work? He took a picture of me working in the factory and posted it on his social media, saying, "This is not a place for a normal person to work, lol." It got flamed, and he received so many comments like, "Scum, you're the one who's not normal," saying things like this. Because of this, he became a persona non grata in where he lived and forced to move away. He is in hiding, working and struggling to pay off his debts on his own. It's all because he looked down on people so much. What a pity. After all this, my wife and I had a baby, and Mom passed away last year. I made her so happy to see a grandchild before she passed. I'm going to protect my family no matter what as the man of the family now.
At my parents' house, my mother lives alone in a rented house. The rented house belongs to my mother's cousin, Miss Anne. The house itself is about 40 years old as of now, and it has been rented for about 25 years. When I was a college student, my father passed away, and we had to leave the house because we were living in company housing. So Miss Anne told her that she could live there. I was out of the prefecture for college, work, and marriage, so I had no memories of that house, only stopping there on a return trip. And it was more like the house where my mother lived than my parents' house. But my sister, who is 3 years younger than me, got a job in our hometown and lived there with my mother until she got married at 30. Even after she got married, she was going back and forth to our mother's house about once a week. I went back home once or twice a year after I got married, and my mother came to our house once a year for about half a month to visit. But last year, Miss Anne died, and her only son, Ben, inherited the property. Naturally, the ownership of the rented house was changed from Mrs. Anne to Ben. I don't remember ever playing or meeting Ben. My mother received a letter late last year from this Ben saying that he wants to sell the house by cleaning it and wants her to move out or buy it by the end of next year. We've been talking about it for a while, but my mom doesn't want to move anywhere else now, and my sister doesn't want to change her family home now either. She wants to buy the house because even though it's an old house, she's attached to it and doesn't find it inconvenient at all. That said, she doesn't have the money to buy it. The offer from Ben is 25 million yen. My mother and sister suggested that we split the purchase between them. My mother for 5 million yen, me for 10 million yen, and my sister for 10 million yen. But I have no plans to go back to my hometown, and I've already bought my own home, and I have a loan to pay off. So if I'm going to put up 10 million, I'd rather use it to pay off the loan early. There is no way I would simply give away 10 million yen in the first place. And yet, my sister says it's only natural that she and I as sisters equally pay and maintain the family home. But my sister and I have such different feelings about my parents' house. I am uncomfortable with the idea of buying a 40-year-old house and describing it as maintaining the family home. The hallway feels like it's sinking lightly when I walk down it, and since it's a wooden structure, I think the base is probably damaged around the bath area. Even if I paid 10 million yen, I can see that there would be a lot of repairs to be done in the future. And then they'll probably say we should fix up our parents' house again. I'm guessing the 25 million yen that Ben is offering is almost entirely for the land. But I don't think my sister is thinking much further ahead. I used to think our family was close, but then my sister said this to me.
You married far away and left me to deal with our mother. This is the least you can do.
I didn't know how to respond to that. But as for me, I've been sending money to my mother every month, albeit 20,000 yen each. And every time I went back home, I gave her 100,000 yen. I paid for her transportation when she came to stay at our house, and I didn't accept any money while she was there. If you ask me, my sister seems to go home frequently and gets our mother to buy things, and she also seems to receive an allowance for her children. We live far away from each other, so my child only gets money for the New Year's, and a few thousand yen for pocket money when she comes over to our house. When my mom was in the hospital, I was back, even only for the weekend. In exchange, I paid for her hospital bills. I was working, so that was all I could do. I know it's not all about the money, but I was trying to follow up in other ways to make up for things I couldn't do in my own way. But I wonder if I have to be told this much just because I'm married far away. And I don't think my mother ever told my sister that she was receiving money from me. I went back home the other day to discuss this matter, but it was still a 2-for-1 situation.
It's only fair that you pay for it.
My sister cussed out without listening to me.
You've never done anything before, and you won't do that either.
I finally lost my temper and told my sister what I was thinking. My sister still lives in a rented apartment, and until we got the notice from Ben, she said she would probably never own her own home. I think you want to buy our parents' house not because of our mother, but because you want to live here yourself. If that's the case, then do what you want with it. Or if you want it, buy it yourself. She was a little shaken. Like what I said hit the bullseye.
Even so, since our mother lives here, it's our parents' house, and you're obligated to pay for it. It's not right that you don't pay for it.
I knew she'd probably say that. You want me to pay 10 million yen for a house that I've never lived in, but I've already given our mother close to that much money. And I always gave her 100,000 yen when I went back home. Even if I didn't, every month I'd send her tens of thousands of yen, and I even paid for her hospital bills. Did you ever give our mother money to make ends meet? You were just getting money. If you say it's not about the money, then I could say the same thing to you. Just because it's our parents' house and we're family doesn't mean I'm obligated to pay for it. I've been helping our mother for a long time in terms of money. In fact, I've done so much for her. Now you should be helping her, not just taking from her. And with that, I ended the conversation. My sister was glaring at me with bitter eyes, as if she couldn't get the words out of her mouth. My mother was silent the whole time. It's not surprising that a mother's priority is her daughter, who is close by, rather than her daughter who is far away. I realize now that I must have been an exploited child after all. I thought I could just insulate them now, but I felt bad for my husband, who was concerned about my mother living alone and willing to accept a half-month stay, even if it was only once a year. He always treated my mother first when she came over, and never complained about anything when he was tired from work and didn't have a place for himself. But to think that my own family was like this. He paid out of our household income for me to send money home and to give to my mother when I went home, because it was a family thing. So it's hard that it's come to this. I was trying my best in my own way, but I felt that my mother didn't get it at all, and when I was alone, I couldn't stop crying. Then, I went back to my place and told my husband all about it. My husband listened to me the whole time without saying a word, and when he told me I'd done a great job, I felt a sense of relief. I took this opportunity to stop sending any money to my mother. I've always put my mother first, and my husband's parents had told me this. It must be hard for your mother because she's all alone. Don't worry about us. Just support her. So, I wanted to serve my husband's parents as well as I had done in the past for my mother. And about 6 months later, my sister contacted me.
Our mother lost her home because of you. It's your fault. Take responsibility.
It was kind of a pain in the butt already, so I just ignored the messages. Even though my mom lost her home, she just needs to change where she lives, and I haven't heard anything from her at that point. I think she gave up all support from me. It seems my sister had told my brother-in-law that they could have the house, but that's been blown out of proportion and they're having quite a bit of trouble. Also, my mom lived alone, so she moved into a regular apartment near the house. I'm sure the story my sister told me about our family wasn't 100% false, but I guess she was thinking of buying the house for 10 million yen and live with my mother. I then started inviting my husband's parents to go on business trips with us because I had a whole lot of money left from sending money to my mother and going towards her throughout the year. I'm kind of sorry you had to pay for our trip. My in-laws said, but they were happy to travel with their grandson. Just by stopping sending my money 20,000 yen, I was able to save 240,000 yen a year. And the 100,000 yen I had given her when she returned at the end of the year, transportation expenses when she came to visit, and all the other money left over. So my family was able to have more money at once. Thinking about it this way, I realized that I had been able to show filiality to my mother in my own way, even though I was far away from her. But my sister and my mother, the person in question, never thanked me for it, and I really didn't think it was something I should do until I was mistreated. Now that my child is getting bigger, I'm going to spend the money we saved on ourselves.
One day, my husband said he was going to start sending his parents money every month. I had no idea why. His father passed away recently. His mom and sister lived together. His sister worked at a big firm and his mom just got the insurance money. So why did they need the money? But we're barely making ends meet. Why? I didn't want to say it, but my husband didn't make much. I had a part-time job, but we were always strapped for cash.
She told me to keep this a secret, but the thing is, my dad had a lot of debt. She just found out about it, so they're really broke right now.
I see. She was always really nice to me, and so was her husband. And his sister treated me like I was her little sister, so I said yes. I told him I'd figure something out. But it was easier said than done. We were always broke, and now we had to send his mom money every month. I was barely eating. But then, I made a shocking discovery. What did you say?
Huh? I said we're going on vacation. We'll get you a nice souvenir.
Vacation? Where?
To Hokkaido. We're going for 3 days. Can't wait to eat crabs.
That's when I snapped. How could you do that to me? You got money to go on vacation to Hokkaido? I'm barely eating, you know? This is crazy.
Huh? Wait, what are you talking about?
My husband. He said he wanted to send you guys money every month. I heard about your late husband's death. So we cut our food budget and everything. I've been working so hard to make ends meet, Then I just started crying. They looked shocked and confused. Turns out they weren't in debt. They had no idea about the money. They said they didn't receive a dime. They called up my husband right away. They tried to comfort me. They were furious with my husband.
What the hell is going on? Explain
yourself!
Tell
us the truth, now! I took him into the other room and tore him apart. I could hear them yelling. Then I heard things breaking in there. I could hear my husband screaming. Then they came out of the room after a little while. Then they told me to come with them. My husband came stumbling out the room. He was beaten half to death. Then I asked them, "Come with you? To where?" "On vacation." "Hokkaido?" "Yeah, screw him! Do you really want to stay here with him? Come on, pack your things!" Then his mom said, "Yeah, forget about him. Let's get away for a while." I had no idea what was going on, but now they're inviting me to go on vacation with them. "And you're gonna be on your own until you pay her back in full! You gotta do everything around the house! And don't ever show your face here again! Every month, I'm gonna check your account on payday. I'm gonna be in charge of your money now."
What? No way! I got a full-time job. How am I supposed to do things around the house?
"Just figure it out, and she'll probably divorce you, so you better get used to it."
What? No!
"Just get to work. Pay off your debt first, then we'll talk. If you can't do that, Mom and I will cut all ties with you." She yelled at him. He was devastated, but they didn't care. Then, a few days later, they took me on vacation. They apologized to me over and over again. They said I could stay with them for a while. They even told me to divorce him if he didn't clean up his act. But they told me to give him another chance if he cleaned up his act. I thought about it for a while, but after what he did to me, I don't know. I was leaning towards divorce. When we got back, I was gonna head home and tell my husband it was over, but then... "Come on, let's go!" "Huh?" "Yeah, come on. Our home is your home now." So they invited me back to their house. I guess I was living with them now. And my sister-in-law, she was so full of energy. After we got home, she went to my house and got all my things for me. And they did everything around the house for me, so it was really comfortable. My husband was having a hard time living on his own. I never had to see him, but every month my sister-in-law went over to his house to collect his paycheck. I knew I had to tell him about the divorce soon, but I never got around to it. Then, 2 months went by. I still lived with them. By that point, I was starting to have second thoughts about the divorce. Maybe he deserves another chance. I mean, he did lie to me and use the money to buy stuff for himself, but it's not like he was having an affair. And his sister told me that he was starting to clean up his act. He could even do things around the house now. She even told me that he feels remorse for what he did. Maybe I should go talk to him. "No, he has to suffer more. After what he did to you, he's not getting off that easily." She was so strict. So my husband ended up living on his own for 3 full months. When I went to see him, he looked like a different person.
I'm so sorry about everything. Living on my own taught me a lot of things. All those things you did for me. I'm so sorry. I'll never ask for money again. I'll even help around the house. Will you come home? Please?
My husband started crying. Then he took out a ring. He said he bought it with his savings.
Can we start over? I love you.
I love you too. I started crying. Then his mom and sister started crying too. So finally, I was back home. They kind of knew that I was leaning towards divorce. That's why she pushed her brother so hard, hoping I'd give him a second chance. And her plan worked perfectly. And I still spent a lot of time with them. "Let's go out for lunch." "I got you this coat. I think it'll look really good on you." They were so good to me. I asked them why they were being so nice to me. What do you mean? Because you're family, and we love you. That made me feel all warm inside. And I was so grateful for them. If it wasn't for them, I probably would have divorced him, so... Anyways, I'm just really glad everything worked out. Phew!
After 2 years of dating, my girlfriend cheated on me. I found out about it when one of my friends contacted me. "I saw your girlfriend walking with a man in the mall," he said. But I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I thought maybe my girlfriend was with her cousin. It'd be fine if that were the case. But then my friend said, "I hate to break it to you, but it really didn't seem like she was with a relative." That night, I met up with my friend at a restaurant to get more information. Unexpectedly, I found my girlfriend sitting in the restaurant with a man I'd never seen before. When I said hi to them, the man looked at me with a confused look on his face. My girlfriend turned pale immediately when she saw me. I could tell from her reaction that something must be wrong. I told her I'd talk to her later and returned to my seat. After my friend and I finished eating, we left the restaurant. My girlfriend called me on my way home.
Can we meet?
She asked. So we decided to meet up in a nearby park. As soon as she arrived, she said,
That was a senior colleague at work. I wanted to thank him for helping me out at work, so I went to dinner with him. Trust me, there's nothing between us. Don't break up with me.
After hearing what she said, I thought, how would you explain what my friend saw then? Sorry to interrupt, but I received some messages from a friend today. He said he saw you with a man at the shopping mall close to the train station. What was that about? Was that part of your work? After hearing what I said, her face turned pale, as expected. She probably never thought they'd be seen by my friend. Suddenly, she said,
I'm sorry, I cheated on you.
She got on her knees and started crying. I helped her up and took her home so we could talk. After we got home, she said,
I didn't want to go out with him, but he kept asking me. I couldn't refuse. We went out several times, and I also started to like him. But I like you too, and I don't want to break up with you.
She sounded so selfish. You can't date both of us at the same time. You have to make a choice. I sent her home after saying that. The next day, what did you say to her? I won't forgive you for this. A mutual friend sent me over 20 messages, but I had no idea what she was saying. Later, I realized my girlfriend had told her a different story. Apparently, my girlfriend said I cheated on her, so she went out with a guy to get back at me. Then I violently threatened her and made her get on her knees. I didn't threaten her at all, and she got on her knees herself. I tried to call my girlfriend, but it was picked up by the guy she cheated with. After I told him what had happened, he said, I'll be there right away. Then he hung up. 30 minutes later, the guy showed up at my door. My girlfriend also came with him, but she had a grumpy look on her face. Turns out the guy was married. I'm sorry. Could you forgive me? He started apologizing as soon as he saw me. I asked the mutual friend who sent me angry messages to come over. Seeing is believing. It was better for her to hear it from my girlfriend and the guy. After she learned the truth, she asked my girlfriend,
It's completely different from what you told me. What's going on?
My girlfriend didn't reply. She just kept staring at the floor. I wanted to know what my girlfriend's decision was, so I asked her, So, who do you want to be with, him or me? After thinking for a while, she replied,
Him and you? I want both of you!
She raised her voice when she made the announcement. After that, it became her solo stage.
Both relationships could have continued if you didn't see me at the restaurant. Is it so wrong to go out with two guys? I like both of you equally. Why can't you just listen to me instead of being so stubborn?
I had never seen my girlfriend acting this way, so I was stunned and speechless. The other guy's jaw also dropped when he heard my girlfriend's words. The mutual friend was silent too. My girlfriend would have kept dating us if neither of us had found out. After realizing that, my feelings for her cooled down immediately. I turned to the guy and said, I fully understand the situation now. You said you're married, right? What will your wife feel if she finds out about this? The guy looked very troubled and didn't know how to respond. Going out with my girlfriend is one thing, but having an affair with other women when he's married is another. The cheating guy begged. It's not up to you to decide. You should go home now. We'll talk soon. I can't be with someone who thinks it's okay to have two boyfriends. We're done. I said to my girlfriend.
Why? Don't you like me anymore? You do, right? I also have feelings for you.
What she said shocked me again. I couldn't believe that she still thought she had done nothing wrong. I've heard enough! Get out! I kicked her out of my home. After seeing my girlfriend's obnoxious response, the mutual friend said,
I'm sorry that I misunderstood you.
She apologized and went home. Then I thought about what I should do with them. My girlfriend and I weren't engaged. The cheating guy begged me not to tell his wife and offered to pay me money as compensation. It'd be a different story if my girlfriend and I were engaged or married, but the guy really had no idea that she had a boyfriend. So I accepted his money in the end because I didn't want to get his family involved in this drama. The only problem left was my girlfriend. What surprised me the most was her attitude. Not only had she cheated on me, but she also tried to justify her behavior. So I decided to break up with her as quickly as possible. Later, the guy she cheated with broke up with her. She started calling me and trying to get back together with me.
I'm sorry. I just realized you're the only one I want. I have nothing to do with him anymore. I chose you over him. Can we start again?
I did ask her to choose who she wanted to be with, but she didn't answer at the time. At this point, I had no feelings left for her whatsoever, so I blocked her number. One day, I came home from work. She was waiting for me outside my building. As soon as she saw me, she ran up to me and said,
Oh my god, finally! I waited forever. Can I go in for a hot drink?
She tried to follow me into the building. What the hell? Go home! I already broke up with you!
No, you didn't! We're back together after I made my decision to choose you.
I felt like it was a waste of time reasoning with her. We're not back together! Go home!
Oh, right. Why don't we get married since I've already decided on you? Shall we?
She was getting out of control. I had to stop her from running into the building. After I got home, I called the police immediately and told them that my ex-girlfriend had ambushed me in front of my building. The police arrived in 5 minutes and detained her.
What did I do? I'm here to see my boyfriend! Let go of me!
She struggled and yelled at the police. Because she kept saying that I was her boyfriend, the police got confused and asked me, Are you two together? So I told them what happened. The police were convinced after hearing my story. It was obvious that my ex-girlfriend would come back again. So I talked to my landlord, ended my lease early, and moved to a new place. In order to prevent my ex-girlfriend from ambushing me again, I paid extra to the moving company so they could finish everything in one day. My ex-girlfriend received a warning from the police for stalking me. But as I expected, she came back to my old apartment. This time she was yelling while kicking the front door.
How dare you call the police on me? What kind of monster would report their girlfriend to the police? Come open the door for me, you coward!
Many residents called the police to report her, so she was taken away by the police again. She didn't look like she calmed down, and I really didn't want anything to do with her. She probably would spend some time in jail. She was normal when we first started dating, so I never expected to see her change so much. I think I'll stop dating for a while. I have a younger sister named Alexa. She got engaged last year. Family members from both sides met during the rehearsal dinner, but I wasn't able to attend because of work. He's a fine young man.
He's good looking and well mannered. He's a nice man.
My parents were praising him, so I imagined that he was a very good person. Then, when the wedding day was nearing,
Jason, I need to talk to you about something.
You're all here. What's the occasion?
Take a seat.
The atmosphere was something heavy, and they acted distant. Did I do something bad? Actually, we were having a family meeting about Alexa's wedding. It's hard to say, but we're thinking of breaking off relations with you. Huh? What are you saying all of a sudden? I didn't understand what he was saying to me. Then Alexa explained to me why.
Because you're ugly.
Huh? What's wrong with that?
My fiance's family members are all good looking. I'm not sure they'll react well to your looks when they see you.
How about I just don't go to your wedding?
What if they find out you're ugly when interacting with relatives?
We want to get rid of you for the sake of Alexa. Please do it for the sake of your sister.
That's the conclusion we've come up with. We want you out soon, so be prepared. What? Don't you care about me at all? I couldn't believe that my own family said that to me! Shocked, I had no energy left to rebut them, and ended up breaking relations with them. I was aware of how terrible they treated me, but for the first time, I learned that people feel empty when things are too bad. I should have gotten angry, but all I felt was emptiness. So I packed my things up and left. I went to my friend's house and stayed there. While drinking, I told him about what happened, and he was furious.
What? They're negating you? Even though they're family, that's going too far! Unforgivable! They even drove you away!
For some time, I was kicked out of the family, and I was very happy to hear my friends say that.
Leave it up to me. It's not revenge, but let's at least send them a small gift.
My friend said that with a naughty look on his face. Then, several weeks later, Alexa's wedding day finally arrived. But of course, I didn't attend. I went on a trip with my friend and turned my phone off. I don't know who told them where I was staying, but when I came home from the trip, they were standing in front of my friend's house. I can imagine why they were there. Alexa shouted with a menacing look.
Where were you all this time? You even turned your phone off!
I went on a trip with my friend, I replied with a smile. We're not family anymore. That's none of your business. Why are you here? Her face turned red, and with heavy breaths, she said,
Don't act like you don't know.
Alexa's wedding was ruined because of you.
I just sent a video letter as a surprise present for her wedding. That's probably why they were here. On the day of the wedding, during the wedding reception,
We have a surprise video letter from the friend of the bride.
then the audio started playing.
I said, how many times do I need to say it for you to understand? I don't want anyone to know that an ugly person like you is a part of our family. I told you we're breaking off relations with you. You're really stupid.
We've already agreed upon this, so there's nothing you can do about it. Anyway, don't come home anymore. We'll be in big trouble if they know your family.
What are you going to do if Alexa's wedding gets ruined? Hurry up and go away.
Only their cursing echoed through the place.
Alexa, what is the meaning of this?
No, this is just made up.
Actually, after my friend suggested this plan, I recorded everything every time I went to visit my family. I can just imagine the looks on their faces when they heard that. Ranting and raving, she had dug her own grave.
I didn't think you were like that. I can't live with someone who can't cherish her own family.
It's crazy that you would erase your child's existence.
This is not what a human being would do. Marriage to a woman born of such a heartless human being is doomed, he said, and the marriage was ruined. Then, aside from the wedding expenses, they were charged a substantial alimony fee for Alexa lying about being an only child.
It's all your fault. What are you going to do about this?
It's your responsibility, so you'll be paying for everything.
Right, we have nothing to do with that.
I just exposed the truth. Don't you realize that you're the ones who ruined the wedding?
Shut up, ugly! How far are you dragging me down? Just pay for everything!
Wait a minute, that's absurd.
Then my friend, who had been silent until now, said,
Your fiancé is charging Alexa for alimony, isn't he?
Right, but the family's supposed to pay for it, and Jason is family.
Only the person charged must repay. The parents and siblings have no obligation to do so.
But he's the reason why this happened. By the way, who are you to butt in?
I'm Justin, a lawyer and friend of Jason.
A lawyer?
I've been listening to your conversation, but how much pain are you going to inflict on him until you're satisfied? We'll take appropriate measures if necessary. so brace yourselves.
The moment they learned that he was a lawyer and uttered the words, appropriate measures if necessary, they turned pale.
What? You've got to be kidding me! You'd better remember that!
What a jerk! They said and went home. Then, waving his hand with a smile on his face, my friend said,
That's our line. We won't run and hide. Be our guest.
After they left, I said, Justin, thank you.
Don't worry about it. In exchange, treat me to barbecue tonight.
Really? Just barbecue for all that? Sure, I'll treat you to as much as you want. Then I was able to sign a contract for a one-person apartment at a very low price from the company president whom Justin was in contact with. What's more is that they even prepared furniture for me, so that it was immediately livable after moving. I'll forever be in debt to Justin. Only my colleagues and close friends know about this. My parents came to my workplace several times, but thankfully, Justin intervened every time. They sold the house to pay for alimony, so now they're living in a small apartment and living on a pension. They invited a lot of guests, so when it got ruined, Alexa got laughed at. Instead of looking for a job, she used our parents' pension to pay, saying she was hurt. Because of that, our parents and Alexa's relationship became the worst ever. Neighbors said that they're always yelling at something breaking. Well, my former parents were the one who chose Alexa and kicked me out, so it's none of my business anymore.
My name is Takakao Tsukiyama. I was married to my husband, Hiroshi, last year. My husband has a rare disease called microphthalma ever since he was born, which makes his pupil much smaller than usual. He usually puts on his artificial eyes. While his artificial contact eyes make him look more natural, there are times when his two eyes have different sizes.
Tell me if they look off. I don't want to scare kids outside.
I married him for his charming personality, despite the hardship he faced ever since he was young. And even now, I still don't mind his looks at all. I wish I could say the same for my little sister's family. My sister used to say,
I don't care that you have better grades than me. I'm way cuter than you. Don't get carried away just because Mom and Dad always like you more than me.
The only reason our parents preferred me over her was that she was constantly a problem for them. She would break the rules and steal money from their wallet. Of course they like me more. You're always acting out.
Shut up!
Whenever we fought, she would often throw things at me, and by the time we got to high school, we stopped talking to each other. After my little sister graduated high school, I thought she was going to start working, but
I'm going to find a husband faster than you.
She stole our parents' money and started looking for a man. Thanks to the money and her efforts, she was able to marry Saita, a high-ranking businessman. They ended up having 2 boys and a happy family life, which was good for me because it means I didn't have to deal with her. It was only after I married she started bothering me again.
I didn't know your husband had fake eyes. Why did you marry a disabled person? You're just bringing shame to our family name. I don't care he was born with it. It looks weird. Do me a favor and don't show your disabled husband to my husband or my kids.
To be honest, I was happy to not get me or my husband involved with my sister, so... But a month later...
I'm part of the PTA now.
She sent her kids to me to look after them during her PTA meetings. I have a job too, you know. I can't look after your kids. Why don't you ask your husband to look after them?
However, she didn't listen to me and decided to drop her kids off in front of my doorstep. It's so hot! I'm going to melt! This is abuse.
They were screaming in front of my door, so I was forced to let them in.
Big bro, this sofa is like a trampoline. Let's play baseball here.
They were doing whatever they wanted. That was when my husband came home from work.
What's going on? I heard a loud sound coming from the house.
Apparently, he could hear the loud commotion within the house and came in the house in a hurry.
Yo, this guy's eye is so weird. It's disgusting.
They were making fun of my husband. I was used to his glass eyes, but apparently it was too shocking for a kid to see.
He's the devil! He's going to eat us alive!
Even though they were still kids, I was furious at them for being so awful. How dare you say that to my husband? This was probably the first and last time I yelled this hard at someone. Then I suddenly got a call from my sister saying, "I'm back home so you can bring my kids back." She was too lazy to even pick up her own kids. "Your mother is back. You two should get back to your house." The next day,
My kids say they don't want to go to your house anymore. What did you do?
apparently they were too scared of me due to the incident last night. What do you mean, what did I do? It was your fault. You let your kids do and say whatever they wanted. You need to discipline your kids. I'm not taking care of your kids anymore. Go ask someone else.
No. Why?
I no longer had to take care of my sister's kids. I wish that was the end of the story, but it was not. Later that day, I went to the neighborhood association with my husband. I saw the two children at the festival without my husband noticing. I really didn't want to deal with them, so I decided to ignore them and go on with our day. However, they recognized us from far away and said,
Hey, it's the zombie from Biohazard.
How dare you call my husband a zombie?
But my mommy told me our uncle was a zombie, so we shouldn't go near him.
I was about to scold them once again, but my husband stopped me at the last second.
It's fine. Let's just go.
Hey, the zombie's trying to run away. We have to defeat the zombie before it runs away.
They started throwing rocks at my husband. Stop it!
Please, stop it!
I tried to stop the kids, but they kept on throwing rocks at us while running away. Eventually, one of the rocks hit my husband's glass eye, and the other rock hit a passerby who happened to be a pregnant woman.
Ow!
The pregnant woman fell down after the rock hit her.
Yeah! Critical hit! We did it!
My husband's glass eyes were shattered, and he was screaming in pain, and the pregnant lady also suffered pain.
It hurts!
Don't worry about me! Help her!
I ran towards the lady to ask her if she was okay. Her husband also came to the rescue.
She's currently at a later stage of pregnancy, so she should be fine. But I'm going to take her to the hospital just in case.
I'm so sorry. Those kids are my nephew, and I'll take full responsibility for this. During that time, the two kids ran off. I was more furious than ever. I darted towards my sister's home.
What is it?
She already heard the news from her kids and was making a bothersome face. You and I are going to visit the hospital right now to apologize.
What? My kids told me the lady fell on her own. Not to mention they threw a small rock. No way that's enough to hurt her.
What are you talking about? Take a look at this rock. I showed her the rock they threw at her, as well as the one they threw at my husband. You know their fingerprints are all over the rock, right? I can take this to the police if I wanted to. And doesn't your husband play a big part in the community around here? It's not going to look good for him if people found out about this. Are you sure you're fine with that?
Please, my husband is about to get a promotion, and if he doesn't get it...
If you really want your husband to succeed, then you should start disciplining your kids properly.
Why are you making such a big deal out of this? The kids are still young. Also, the kids are at an age they want to play around. Why are you making it my fault?
That kind of thinking is exactly why they turned out like this. Fine, if you're not going to take responsibility, you leave me with no choice. I'm going to the police.
No, don't do this. If you go to the police, my husband is going to divorce me. And if my husband leaves me, I won't be able to go to all the activities with the other rich moms.
So, you married your husband for his money? Well, good thing I have all of this in recording. Afterwards, I took the recording and showed it to her husband. He was furious at how my sister was enabling their kids to do awful things. He immediately got a divorce. Seita got full custody of the kids and is now being disciplined by their grandmother to become better people. To make things worse, the only reason my sister was going to the PTA meetings was to flirt with one of the teachers. After our parents found out about what happened, she was kicked out of the family. She even had to pay for all the damages, including my husband's glass eye, divorce money, and many more. She immediately went into debt and had to move to a dumpy apartment and work day and night to pay it off. From all the stress from work, she eventually started looking like a real zombie. One time, I saw her walking around when I heard the kids yelling, "It's a zombie!" at her. I went on with my life with my husband, hoping I didn't have to deal with my sister anymore.
My name is Savannah. I'm meeting with my friend Ava today. I haven't seen her since she got pregnant, so I'm really looking forward to seeing her.
Are you meeting Ava today?
Yes, and I've already made your dinner. Sorry for leaving you alone on the weekend.
Don't be sorry. You guys haven't seen each other for so long. Have fun.
Thank you. I always spend a relaxing time with my husband on weekends, but I decided to meet Ava at the mall today and hang out at her place after that. I arrived early and waited for Ava. Hi, Savannah. It's been forever. Hi, Ava. Wow, your belly has got so much bigger. How many months? 7. We talked for a few minutes and went to a nearby restaurant. I'll have risotto and a latte. For me, I'll get pasta, bologna, and orange juice. After ordering our food, we talked about how our lives had been. What about your husband? How is he treating you? I bet you get along very well. Yeah, I guess. We get along fine. We talked about trivial things, but I started to feel something was not right halfway through our conversation. Before I knew it, my forehead was covered in cold sweats. I kind of feel sick. I started to feel nauseous, so I closed my eyes. Ava saw me acting strange, so she asked, "Are you okay?" Yeah, My vision blurred, and I lost consciousness before finishing my sentence. The next thing I knew, I was in a hospital bed. Oh my God, Savannah! How are you feeling? Do you remember what happened? You fainted while we were eating! Oh, I don't. I'm sorry I ruined our night. Don't say that. Have a good rest, okay? I spent a few more hours in the hospital before taking a cab home. I didn't tell my husband I had fainted because I didn't want him to worry. This wasn't my first time fainting. It happened to me a couple of times in the past. I thought maybe I had epilepsy. I even went to the hospital and got checked, but the doctor said I was fine. I only felt a little sick. It's probably nothing. There's no need to tell him. Of course, my husband knows I had fainted before. But I hate to make him too worried about me, so I didn't say anything. I've always been scared to do things because I don't know the cause of my condition. I also never got my driver's license, so my husband always goes with me to places. I haven't felt so sick in a while. Why did it happen again all of a sudden? I was confused, but I didn't think much about it. A week later, Ava contacted me again. Hey, are you busy today? No, why? Well, we didn't talk much last time, so I thought maybe we should meet at my place and have lunch together. I also got the baby's ultrasound pictures from the hospital the other day. The baby's ultrasound pictures? I'd love to see it, but are you sure it's okay? It must be tiring for you to cook. It's okay. My husband's not home, and you know how much I enjoy cooking. Okay, I'll get ready. I got ready and took the bus to Ava's place. Hi! Come on in. I just finished cooking. What? I thought we were going to cook together. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. Let's eat. There are prosciutto salads and sandwiches on the table. Everything looks so delicious. Wow, looks so yum! Ava is excellent at cooking, and it's not the first time she made a food for me. I can't wait to eat her food again. After lunch, Ava showed me the baby's ultrasound picture she got from the hospital. Wow, so this is the baby in your belly? It's still tiny. I can't wait to see your baby. We had a good time chatting while relaxing. I'll go make some latte. I'm guessing you want orange juice? Wow, you remembered? Of course, I remember what you like. Thanks. Did you tell your husband that you fainted last time? No, I didn't want him to worry about me. Aw, you two get along so well. Yeah, we get along fine. Suddenly, I started to have a headache and felt sick again. What's wrong with me? Why am I getting sick again? The same kind of dizziness came up, and I became unconscious again. When I woke up, I saw Ava lying on the floor. Ow! And she looked like she was in a lot of pain. Oh my god, are you okay? But her reply shocked me. What do you mean by that? You did this to me! I'm not gonna forgive you! Everything's recorded! I can prove it was you! What? I stood there and didn't know how to react. I even started to suspect that I had actually done something wrong. After that, Ava left for the hospital. I stayed behind and watched the recording she sent me, and I was shocked by what was in the video. What? Is this me? I saw myself speaking to Ava in the video. You summoned me again! Then I attacked Ava. No! Stop! Please! How? How can I do this to Ava? Especially when she's pregnant. After that, I tried to call Ava multiple times, but she always sent me to voicemail. A week later, she sent me a message and told me she had lost her baby. Her husband blamed the miscarriage on her and wanted to get a divorce. She told me it was my fault and asked me for compensatory damages. I can't believe I ruined Ava's life. So I fainted again. When I woke up, my husband was next to me.
Are you okay? You fainted all of a sudden!
I didn't reply. I didn't want to tell him that I attacked my best friend and caused her to have a miscarriage. But the sense of guilt was so overwhelming. Eventually, I told my husband what happened at Ava's house. My husband held my hands tightly and said,
I didn't want to tell you this, but you have dissociative identity disorder. I think the other personality came out when you were with Ava and attacked her.
I have dissociative identity disorder? How is it possible?
Your father hit you when you were young, right? So you developed an alternative personality to protect yourself from the violence. When you hear the words latte and get along simultaneously, your violent alternate personality comes out. So I've always been very careful not to trigger you. It's been fine most of the time since you don't drink lattes.
Ava said those words several times. I know she loves coffee, but it kind of bothered me when she said, get along.
Ava probably knows about your condition. Maybe she had met your alter before.
But it doesn't matter if she knew. I've already done enough damage to her. My husband thought for a moment and said,
I see. In that case, we should make it up to her. But if she intentionally said those words when she knew well enough what it would do to you, it's possible she has a different motive. I'll look into it.
Later, my husband found out Ava was using my condition to divorce her husband so she could be with her lover. She knew she couldn't get a divorce without a valid reason and might have to compensate her husband if she was caught having an affair. So she hatched a plot to use her miscarriage as an excuse to get what she wanted. She was never pregnant. She stuffed something under her clothing and made it look like she was pregnant. The ultrasound image she showed me was an old one she got from her friend. She also hid the date intentionally. After my husband sent Ava the evidence collected by a private investigator, Ava went crazy and started coming after me. I almost did it! Why do you have to ruin everything for me? It's hard for me to think she's the same person I knew. The way she acts now is even scarier than when my alter comes out. Luckily, my husband and Ava's ex-husband were both on my side, and they applied for a restricting order against her to protect me. Ava's ex-husband also decided to request compensation from her. Later, my husband sued her for the damages she had done to me and asked her to pay considerable compensation. Ava had no choice but to seek help from her parents. In the end, she was abandoned by her lover and lost everything. I started going to psychiatrists to treat my dissociative disorder. I know I might never fully recover from it. Even if I do, it probably will take a very long time. But with my husband's love and understanding, I'll accept myself and do my best to work through difficulties in days to come. My name is Tanya. I've been living alone in an apartment after divorcing my ex-husband several years ago. The reason for the divorce was that he had an affair and borrowed money. I met my ex-husband at the party. We still hadn't paid off our student loans when we got married.
I think we shouldn't have kids until we pay off our loans.
I agree. It was our mutual decision not to have kids in the beginning. Our marriage started well, but things changed after my father-in-law passed away. One day, my mother-in-law said, "It's been lonely after my husband passed away." So my husband suggested,
Why don't you come live with us? You can stay in our guest room.
honestly, I didn't want to live with my mother-in-law, but my mother-in-law agreed right away. "That's a good idea!" What? My husband and mother-in-law made the decision without asking for my opinion. My father-in-law was in his 70s when he passed away, and my mother-in-law was in her 50s. Is it normal to move into your son's newlywed home just because you're lonely? After they had decided, they finally remembered to ask me,
You're okay with it, right?
"Oh, I guess, but..."
Then it's decided.
Wonderful! Before I could say anything, it was already decided that she would be moving in with us. Are you kidding me? We did have a spare bedroom, but it was meant to be the nursery room for the baby. If my mother-in-law takes the room, we would have to look for a bigger house when we have a baby. Even though we postponed having a baby because of our debts, I've always wanted to have kids. So I had a complicated feeling about this. Things got even worse after my mother-in-law moved in. She started picking on me as soon as we started living together. "When are you going to have kids, Tanya?" We still have to pay back our student loans. "Isn't it because you're working?" "Not really. Your son and I had already talked about it." "Can't you pay back your loans while being pregnant?" "I won't be able to work for a while if I get pregnant." "What are you talking about? You can't solve the problem if you keep running away from it." I couldn't believe my mother-in-law. How can she say that when we have been covering the extra living expenses since she moved in? What, don't you pay for your own living expenses if you want a grandchild that bad? My mother-in-law had the money my father-in-law left, but it never occurred to her to pay for anything. I didn't take what she said seriously in the beginning, but she started to get more aggressive. "Hey, Tanya, why are you using this?" "What?" My mother-in-law came to me with my birth control device in her hand. "How can you get pregnant when you're using this? I'm throwing it away." "That was in my nightstand drawer. I can't believe she went inside my bedroom and went through my things." My mother-in-law totally disregarded my privacy. She even once threw my suit away. "Why is my suit in the trash can?" "Oh, I threw it away. It's about time you stop working." Even though my husband and I both worked for pay for her living expenses, my mother-in-law never stopped complaining about me. I was so fed up with her. But to my surprise, my husband was on her side.
I think she's got a point.
"What? Why would you agree with her? Didn't we decide not to have kids until we pay off the loans?"
Well, I thought about it after. Maybe you worry too much. We can still get by even if we have a baby, don't you think?
"Are you serious? Then you should ask your mom to start paying rent. We have to keep repaying the loans, but our food and other living expenses are exploding. Your mom never paid a single penny."
Huh? Are you trying to live off the money my dad left?
That's not what I mean. I just wish she could pay for her living expenses.
How much more can it cost to have her living with us?
Unlike us, your mom stays home all day. So the air conditioner is always on during the day. I'm not saying that she can't turn it on. All I'm asking is that she pays for those extra living expenses.
I never thought you'd be such a stingy person.
My husband kept siding with my mother-in-law and refused to change his opinion. We started having the same fights over and over. One day, we received a letter in the mailbox. Important notice? What? A loan payment notice of $30,000? The letter was for my husband. Hey, what is this? Why would someone send you a loan payment notice?
Why did you open my letter? I needed money, so I borrowed it.
You can't just take out a loan whenever you need money.
It's for business purposes.
My husband tried to make excuses, but he later confessed that he had spent all of it at strip clubs. No wonder he's been coming home late recently. I was already irritated by my mother-in-law, so I couldn't stand my stupid husband anymore. I decided to divorce him. After I told my brother what had happened, he introduced a lawyer and kept a private investigator to me. And then I discovered another shocking secret.
Your husband didn't go to strip clubs. He's having an affair.
Is he?
The private investigator has just sent in the photos. Your husband went to a hotel with a woman. Here, take a look.
The photo captured the moment of my husband entering the hotel with his lover. There were also photos from other days and other hotels. So I changed the reason for divorce to adultery and gave him the divorce papers. Let's divorce. I have evidence to prove that you've been having an affair. You lied. You'll have to pay me compensatory damages. He kept apologizing after hearing what I said. It'd be a joke to continue living with a cheating and lying husband and an irritating mother-in-law. So I turned a deaf ear to my husband and divorced him. I also asked for compensation. The apartment we were living in was under my name, so I kicked them both out.
I never thought you'd be so cruel! What a heartless woman!
They said. I smiled and replied, "Go live with your lover. Bring your mom with you too." I also moved out of the apartment later. A few months later, I got a phone call. Hello?
This is the police. Your mother-in-law was involved in an assault case.
What? But I've already divorced my ex-husband.
Could you please come to the police station?
I went to the police station and the police officer explained to me what had happened. My ex-mother-in-law went to the apartment we used to live in hopes of getting me back with her son. But a different tenant was living in that apartment. When she saw him, she thought I had gotten with another man. I can't believe she's cheating on my son! She stabbed the man in that apartment with a knife she brought to threaten me with, so the police arrested her. After the police interrogated her, I got a phone call from my lawyer. I met with him and was told an unbelievable story. My ex-husband told the lawyer,
My mother had no ill intentions. You and my ex-wife are to blame for what happened. You're the one who helped her divorce me, so you must persuade the victim to drop the charges against my mother. Do your duty. Maybe I'll forgive you. Then I can live with my wife and pay off our debts together again.
My jaw dropped after hearing what my ex-husband said to the lawyer. Of course, neither the lawyer nor I were responsible for what my ex-mother-in-law did. Because I wanted nothing to do with them anymore, I decided to ignore what my ex-husband said to the lawyer. My ex-mother-in-law was later found guilty after a trial. She'll spend a long time in prison. The man who got stabbed survived but had to deal with some minor effects. So my ex-mother-in-law also had to pay him compensatory damages. I guess she got what she deserved. After my ex-mother-in-law went into prison, no one was there to take care of my ex-husband. He also became deeply in debt. Because all the neighbors were talking about his mother, he had no choice but to move out of their home too. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I never want to get involved with this strange family ever again.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.